Hey Barb, it's Val. I'm making you your marshmallow and fudge how-to video. Welcome to my kitchen. This is the only part you're gonna get to see. Take that back. You're gonna get to see a little closer. But let's get started. Let me show you what we've got. All right, so for the most part, fudge is all about chocolate, chocolate, chocolate. So our recipe calls for a whole can of that sweetened condensed milk that you see right there. And then it calls for 4 ounces of unsweetened baker's chocolate. So we're gonna use whole bar. So you just buy one and you can see right there, it is a net weight of 4 ounces. Maybe you can't see it. There we go, 4 ounces. Right. Right there on the bottom. And then we're going to use, it calls for 3 cups of additional chocolate. And I like to use a combo. So I'm going to use some milk chocolate and some semi-sweet chocolate and some bittersweet. So I like to keep this simple. I have a 4-cup Pyrex. And what we are going to do is we're going to put in a cup of each of the chocolates. So you can see, and it doesn't have to be perfect, right? Like, I'll put in about a cup of this. Yeah, that's pretty good. That was a bittersweet. And then here's our milk chocolate. Put in a cup of that. We're about 2 cups. Okay. And then here's our semi-sweet chocolate that I haven't opened yet. And so we'll fill that to about the 3-cup mark. That's a little more. That's okay. All right, and then the next thing I'm going to do is cut up my baker's chocolate. So baker's chocolate can be kind of funny in terms of, like, it's just a big old brick, right? But you don't want to put just a big brick of chocolate into your the stuff to melt. It's not going to melt right. So what we're going to do is get a heavy knife, and I like to just kind of flake it off. You can kind of see what it's doing here. So kind of flakes it. See how that looks? And that is going to melt very nicely. So I'm going to finish chopping this up without chopping my fingers. And then I will see you again. So while we are waiting for my helper to return, I want to show you how to prep your pan. So this is an 8 by 8 inch pan, and I have a full piece of parchment here. Just the way that it's recording here, it looks. So what I want to do is I want to center it as close as I can. And we're going to cut a square of the parchment here. Because we want this to fit inside our fudgy container so that the fudge will come out. I know that's not a perfect square, close enough. All right, so the way that we're gonna make this fit is, it's about 1.5 inches there. So I'm gonna cut in about, I'm gonna go this way because I think it's a little easier. Cut in. I'm cutting in about 1 inch. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Cut in. Here we go. Bloop. And one more time. Bloop. That, by the way, is cooking parlance. So I want it to stick. So I'm just using a little bit of Pam to give it something to stick to, if you will. So I'm going to pop it in. And because I made those little cuts, theoretically it will fit nicely. And we just want to make sure that there's a nice clean spot for the fudge to land and for our parchment to fold into. And there it is. And you can see with that Pam, it helped it stick a little bit. You could, if you wanted to, like, spray the whole thing and like really stick it in, but I don't think that's necessary. The fudge is going to be really heavy pretty soon after we melt it and dump it in. So so now we are going to get our sweetened condensed milk ready to go. So again, this is, you can see it's my can of sweetened condensed milk. I'm going to turn my burner on to, because this is a small burner, I'm going to turn it on to medium high, and you just put in, oh, my hand is like in the way, sorry. I'm not good at this yet. Like I'm going to do this again. This is just for you, Barb. I want you to be able to see how to do this. And any other family member who wants to make marshmallows. Okay, so there is my sweetened condensed milk. Let me chuck that can. And then half a cup of heavy whipping cream, pre-measured. Look at that, so pro. In my OXO little half cup measuring thing. Woohoo! So that just goes right in there. Easy peasy. And I'm just gonna mix this up a little bit. I don't need to get a big spoon in here just yet, because what I wanna do is just make sure that I've mixed this up pretty nicely. Whiskey time. And I don't wanna leave it alone. I wanna make sure that I'm kind of hanging out over here near it, because I wanna make sure that it doesn't burn, right? So what I'm looking for is like right around in the edges here. I'm looking to see if I can see any steam. And I don't see any yet, but I will soon. Okay, I see steam. All right, so when you see the steam, you turn off your heater, or you turn off your burner, and you dump in all of your chocolate, just like that. Just dump it in with your whisk. Just kind of mix it up a little bit. And then, this is going to be really scientific. Are you ready? I am going to leave my whisk right there. I'm going to put the lid on it. And no more. I'm going to walk away. 10 minutes. It's been about 10 minutes, and check that out. It is nice and melty and pretty. And what we're going to do now is we're going to turn on the heat again. You want to make sure that it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I like to you put in some vanilla. So I put in about a teaspoon, and if it bloops over a little bit, that's all right. So we are going to whisk, whisk, whisk until this looks nice and melty and creamy. You want it to look a little glossy. And we're getting there. Look how pretty that looks. All right. So I just turned off the heat because I do not want to cook my chocolate. I just wanted to heat up the pan a little bit. Okay, can you see how pretty that is? Look how glossy. That's beautiful. Okay, now time to put it in the pan. It has not been that long. I just needed to change my camera a little bit. So I'm going to try to whack as much of the chocolate off of my spatula because we want it all in the pan. Heavy spatula. This was a present. Isn't that cute? And what we're going to do is get all of the chocolate, as much as possible, out of our pot and into our pan. And you can see, yeah, it moves, but it doesn't move very quickly. It's kind of a blob. That's all right. It's a tasty blob. You might, if your pan is kind of heavy like mine, sometimes it's nice to have another set of hands. But we are just going to get as much out of here as we can. And there we go. And then we're going to, basically you're just going to kind of squidge it into the corners. And you can see that, you know, the parchment is doing its job. It's keeping it from getting under the pan. It'll make it nice and easy to pull out of the pan when we cut it later. So after you do this, it needs to sit for about 12 hours. So this is not one of those things that you can make it and eat it right away, even though you're gonna really want to. At least you're not gonna be able to dump it and cut it. Yeah, if you wanted to add nuts, I know you don't like nuts, Barb, so I'm not adding any to it. But if you wanted to, now would be a great time to do it. Just put it on and press it inside. that's what I have left, and I will tell you it is that's all right. Delicious. Last step with the fudge is to cut it. So we're going to take this out. It's a little early, but I think it's going to be all right. What's lovely is that the parchment, you can just use it as basically as a sling. It will come right out. And there it is. We're going to get a sharp knife. This looks great. And then this is another one. I like to cut it up in I like to cut it in small pieces because it is pretty rich. Actually, might be cutting this a little too soon. It feels a little soft. So I'm going to let this cure overnight before I box it for you. But at least you'll get an idea of how to cut all of this up and get it ready. This is going to be so delicious. Ready for sharing, whoever you want to share it with, or not share. It's a lot. This is what it looks like. Nice, delicious, fudgy. All right, so coming to you tomorrow. Happy retirement, Barb.